take that long, or how much of that process was irrelevant in the end anyway?
It was really hard early on. It took a long time to actually get all of the information that we needed to make an informed decision, and that's simply because it had to come from a variety of different places, and it was a new arrangement. So it was compile the information, then the negotiation began. And I thought it was once we could see the numbers, it was quite a compelling and clear argument as to what needed to happen next. And then we just began the negotiation, and it probably dragged on a little longer than we would have liked. It got pretty robust, I've got to say, but the stakes were high. Everyone involved in it understood that we were reshaping South Australian football and the future of the game, so it was important.
From the very beginning, it was that Adelaide Oval alone isn't the answer to either of the SA clubs. How much more is it for you to get closer to that profit statement that you want to have this year?
Yeah, well, I think that it's a really important question, because I think if you step back and think about the last 3 years, what Port Adelaide, for example, has been able to achieve is we've moved away from AAMI Stadium, we've been able to consolidate our football program in the AFL and the SANFL. We're now an independent licence holder, and now we've got a highly competitive stadium deal at a world-class venue. That's pretty good going. That's a lot of change in a relatively short amount of time. It feels like a long time, but it's relatively short. And for Port Adelaide, that's transformational. Those elements transform us from being a club that was always going to struggle at AAMI Stadium to be successful and financially viable, to a situation where we have a great opportunity to be one of the powerful clubs in the AFL. It's a great position to be.
The one question that probably hasn't been asked is, what does it actually mean, the stadium deal, for the average fan or the member, the guy in the Alberton?
Well, what the deal, for our members, they are thrilled that they can fully believe that as they walk into the Adelaide Oval, their club is being adequately rewarded. Yep. So that's a great sense of relief. I think the experience that Adelaide Oval has provided in 2014 has delighted our fans. The feedback we get is overwhelming, and I think that you can see that in our membership numbers this year, and the excitement that's building for the new year. So, I don't underestimate how appealing that Adelaide Oval venue is, and I get added to the fact that financially they know that it's more rewarding for the club. That makes them feel pretty good.
Keith, you're very price sensitive on tickets.
Yeah.
How does it ease what you might have had to have done at the gate to the fan?
Well, look, we understand that there is sensitivity in all prices, whether you're buying pies and drinks, or whether you're just getting a ticket to the game. So that's always there. Our prices are super competitive by AFL standards. We've actually lifted them. We're going to have to lift them again over the next few years, and we understand that, and I think our members and supporters understand that. But if you're providing world-class experiences and services, and the experience is great, people will be prepared. We'll see that as value, and I think that's our challenge, is to make sure that the value that they see in watching a game of footy at Adelaide Oval remains strong.
David Koch was asked at the AGM about price of food and beverage and made it very clear that's out of your hands. Do you feel frustrated about that, or how are you going to hit up on that issue?
Well, I reckon it's really early for us to be making an informed judgment on that. What I'd like to think would happen is that the Adelaide Oval management will stay absolutely attuned to what our members and supporters are saying and feeling, and that they'll interact with us. We have a great sense of that. I'd like to think that we would be in that conversation, but ultimately it'll be their call. But these things are very, very often market driven, and and I think that's a good thing. So long as everyone's listening and paying attention and setting policy with the consumer in mind, we'll be okay.
56,000 members, I think you cracked through last night. What's the aim for this year? Is it to get to 60?
Yeah, we think 60 is very achievable. It's incredible how flippantly we talk about that. I sent a note around to our staff this morning. 2 years ago we gave away a car for making 40,000 and everything was crossed as we went into that campaign. We think we'll get 60,000 and we think there's probably more in the tank after that.
And does that mean, I don't know how the figures from memory finished up, you must have been close to the site across the road. Are you confident you might be able to eclipse them?
I have no idea. I don't know that they publish them, to be honest, and we don't spend a lot of time thinking about that. We know that we are way ahead of schedule in our own selling period. We started late because the Adelaide Oval review meant that we were late into the market. There's been a heck of a rush, and we are now in new record territory. We went past the record yesterday, and we think there's great momentum into those first games. Our first month involves some blockbuster games here at Adelaide Oval, and we think that'll be a great stimulus for more.
When is the cut-off, by the way?
Well, I think it's several weeks into the season. It really is when the like a 3-game membership doesn't make any sense, and that tends to be 3 or 4 games into the season.
The deal, as you said, the transformational move for remaining say membership, you sort of have to pinch yourself sometimes on how far you've come so quickly.
Well, yeah, you do, but I think it's really important to remember the Port Adelaide crowds that were occurring pre-AFL. Now, I think I made the comment when I first started was that Port Adelaide supporters don't just disappear on you. What happened was that they had disengaged from the club. They weren't happy with what they were seeing. They had been disappointed for several years for whatever reason. And I think what we're seeing now is a united Port Adelaide community re-engaging with its footy club really enthusiastically. So I think they're always there. We're doing a lot of work trying to grow the younger end of our market and probably in some geographical areas such as the eastern suburbs, and we're doing work in those areas. But the vast majority of the fans that are really back in force were evident in the 90s and before that. So we shouldn't be as surprised as perhaps we sometimes are.
But they seem to have been re-engaged fairly quickly. But I guess is the focus geographically speaking and demographically speaking, is that how you avoid complacency? Yeah,
there's no room for complacency. That's not in our mindset at all. The trip to the US was about finding ways to improve and to better engage with your fan base and member base, and it just reinforces how much more you can do. We think that we're providing a product that is appealing on field. We think that our language and our service of our members and our fans is pretty good at the moment, but we've got an enormous market nationally that we can still tap into. We know that there's growth in the young end for all AFL clubs. No one's doing it particularly well. One of the things that we're driving this year will be our Pirateers program, which is about trying to get young families to the footy and providing an environment where they can sit for 3 or 4 hours and not feel as if they have to leave when the kids get a bit bored. Little things like that make a huge difference. If you can crack it, that'll open up a whole new audience base who will enjoy footy a little earlier.
That trip to the US, you flew in on Sunday before the game, didn't you? What did you get
I
out
did.
of it? What did you feel like you got out of that trip?
An enormous amount. It validated some of our thinking in regards to the importance of staying absolutely connected locally, even though you might have national and international growth aspirations. Having a great local identity is critical. We learned that from Liverpool and Arsenal, who are talking about $500 million businesses, absolutely committed to their neighbourhood. I think that's really important. We looked at the future of sport from a broadcast and media point of view, and the importance of social media as a vehicle to drive member engagement. There's a lot that we're doing in that area, but world's our oyster in that space. When you're talking to some of the great sports administrators in the world, you can't help but learn. We've got it. We're in that mindset, and we'll continue to do it.
Keith, when this deal plays out, where will you rank on stadium returns in an 18 to?
Yeah, so good question. We are more than competitive with all of the clubs that occupy the MCG. There's that great deal at Simmons Stadium. I think the Western Australian clubs will be slightly ahead of us, but I reckon it puts us in the top 6 or 7. Highly competitive.
Coming up from?
At Amy Stadium we were probably in the bottom 4, I would have thought.
David was kept using the figure 70% return on the dollar. Was that a critical element when you were negotiating?
Well, it was a critical benchmark. The complexities of all the numbers that fly around and it made it difficult to ascertain exactly what a good deal would look like.
Yeah.
And so to try and give ourselves a benchmark against the other stadiums in Australia, we went for percentage of net revenue, and that came out. We thought that industry best practice was around 70 cents on the dollar. As I said, some of the clubs are doing better than that, and this deal delivers that. We're pretty happy with that.
Keith, is the ASADA decisions coming closer? Is the AFL giving you any indication on when you might have your players or anything like that?
Very, very quiet on that front. There was a lot of talk about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Everyone shut up ranks, and I think that we've just got to go to the hearings, understand what the repercussions are, and then deal with that. I don't have any more information.
Essendon sort of said they're bracing for the worst penalties. What are you guys bracing for?
Yeah, well, we had a risk analysis done as we were recruiting Paddy Ryder. We had to understand what we were potentially looking at. So we think we've got a clear view of the realm, if you like, of penalties that could be coming our way. But the opinions that you get are wide and varied, from no penalty to 8 weeks to the worst case scenario of a year. As I said, no one at the moment is prepared to put money on it. Could go either way.
Yeah, I was talking to Big Roach this morning about this, and we were saying how Essendon gets top-up players. Port Adelaide and the Bulldogs are obviously affected by this. Do you think there should be scope for Port Adelaide and the Dogs to
No doubt.
possibly have top-up players?
No doubt. We should. I feel like we've been largely ignored in that discussion. Clearly, Essendon have a bigger and more pressing problem, and we probably wouldn't have taken it up anyway because we've got more than enough cover on our list. But as a principle, Port Adelaide and the Bulldogs should have been in that conversation, and and we weren't. So, we'll certainly be making that known to the AFL.
So you'll have a conversation and say, come on guys,
Yeah.
if it's a rule, it should be across.
Yeah, and all future ramifications of this. There are more clubs involved than Essendon, and we need to be, I think, duly informed and notified and involved.
Well, good. Thanks.
Thank you, guys. No.